Honestly, if you're willing to put in the work and you are willing to just take action, even if it's not perfect, then there's no way you could fail. Because even if, something doesn't quite work out, you're always learning from that and you're always refining.
Hi, I'm Charlyn, dietitian turned business and marketing coach, and you're listening to the Nutrition Business Show. Hey friends, welcome back to the Nutrition Business Show. Now, if you have been someone who's trying to grow your nutrition business, but you're struggling to get traction with client inquiries and your revenue's not going the way you want it to be, then today's episode is for you. Now, I'm joined by a special guest, Cassandra Lawless. She is a fertility dietitian from Adelaide, Australia. In our conversation, Cassie talked about how she went from just seeing 1 to 2 clients a week, struggling to get consistent traction with client inquiries and barely breaking even with her revenue, to now niching, getting way more focused with her content and her offerings. And she has grown her business immensely over the last 6 months of her being in the Momentum Club. I've brought her on because she's got an inspiring story to share. She is doing all of this whilst working a part-time job and juggling motherhood as well. So I know that this is going to be an inspiring conversation for you to learn from. So without further ado, let's dive into my conversation with Cassie. Hey there, Cassie. Thank you so much for being on the Nutrition Business Show podcast. I'm so excited to have you here. Now, before we get started, why don't you do a quick intro for our listeners and let them know who you are and what you do?
Yeah, my name is Cassie and I'm an Adelaide-based fertility and pregnancy dietitian. I am a mum of 1 and a wife and live very close to the beach, which I love.
Now, Cassie, you're a fertility dietitian. I'd love for you to share with our listeners a little bit more about what got you into this niche area.
Yeah, so I've actually been a dietitian for 12 years, which is crazy when I say that out loud. But I have niched more into the fertility and pregnancy area in the last 3 years since my son Ziggy was born. What got me into the area was actually because of my postpartum experience. So about 7 months postpartum, I started developing anxiety, brain fog, extreme fatigue, new eczema, and these were all brand new symptoms to me. And I just thought it was really odd because going into pregnancy, I was really healthy. So I did a deep dive, I did my own research. I also went to doctors. Unfortunately, they kind of just said all my blood work looked normal. And it was doing my own research where I uncovered wow, actually nutrition in that preconception and pregnancy period is so specific and so complex that sometimes even just healthy eating, we're not meeting our nutrition needs. And so it was from that point in, and I'm still working on myself, but I've been able to improve my health and I wanted to focus on helping couples and women improve their nutrition in that kind of preconception space because it impacts, yes, their ability to get pregnant, yes, a healthy pregnancy, but also mums experience postpartum and how they show up for their kids.
This is such an important area for help and support. And there's so much for us to discover and learn as the research evolve as well. So it must be a very fulfilling part of your work to see pregnancy announcements and helping other couples conceive.
Yeah, it's honestly so fulfilling. I love getting the message that I'm 12 weeks pregnant or I'm carrying a baby girl. It's honestly the best job. It does not feel like a job. It just feels like I'm supporting women alike, friends. So it's a really lovely niche.
Now, Cassie, some people might recognize you from the TV screen because you were a contestant on My Kitchen Rules last year in 2024, wasn't it?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, crazy. So tell us a little bit about that experience. I'm sure a lot of people are curious, how it went for you as a dietitian on the show and as a contestant as well.
Yeah, it was an absolute whirlwind. I'd actually wanted to be on MKR for about 10 years. I remember pretending to be on MKR and putting money in with the girlfriends and going around and cooking and voting for our best dish. And it was like a dream come true when they announced that myself and my cooking buddy Ash were going to be 2 dietitians on the show, the first dietitians ever to appear on the show. So it was really exciting. Lots of difficult days. I learned a lot about TV, the good, the bad and the ugly. But overall, it was a really fun experience. I met some really cool people along the way. And it was really great to meet Manu and Colin as well.
Yeah, I bet the experience will be super fun, but also really stressful behind the scenes.
Yes, it was extremely stressful. A lot of long days in the kitchen. But yeah, I wouldn't take it away. It was once in a lifetime opportunity.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. And you did it well as having your business and your boy as well, Ziggy. So tell us how it went for you as a business. Did you see that it's helped your business to gain more publicity or visibility?
So, yeah, Ziggy was only 18 months when we started filming, and I had tried a lot of things in terms of being present on Instagram. I'd worked with a few business coaches to try and increase my reach. And then when they announced that I was going to be on MKR, I thought, wow, yeah, this is it. This is a holy grail. This is going to explode my business. Clients will be able to see me and I'll be so busy in my practice. But then when it came to airing, unfortunately, my engagement and my views actually went down, which was so crazy to me. Like, yeah, I gained a couple hundred followers perhaps, but they weren't my target audience. They just saw me on telly and thought they'd follow me, but it wasn't the people that I wanted to help. It wasn't couples or women that were actively trying to conceive, because my message on TV didn't sort of come across as strongly as I wanted to. And yeah, I just didn't have kind of strong systems in place. So what I thought was going to explode, my reach did not, unfortunately. So that was a real big kind of kicker and something I didn't expect. And my success and my growth actually came after MKR and had nothing to do with MKR.
Very interesting. And so did it make you doubt your messaging because you're focused on helping couples and that was what you were kind of promoting on Instagram? Did it make you doubt whether or not you should go broader?
I just think it was the wrong approach because they just were following me for the wrong reasons, perhaps. And I don't think my messaging was very clear when they came onto my page. I hadn't nailed that down yet. Like, I was more speaking about pregnancy and fertility. It was more, broad.
And so your TV viewers were probably a very different population to who you were targeting. So it made it hard for you to get the engagement and the conversion that you were hoping for.
Yeah, exactly. My client inquiries went down during the airing process. Yeah.
Yeah. And it kind of drives home the point, isn't it? Where we often see some people with massive pages and we automatically just assume that, hey, they've got a huge following. They must be doing well. But we don't really know what's happening behind the scenes. You know, they could have, yes, growing the followings, but maybe that following isn't fully the ideal client. So I just wanted to bring this up for a lot of people who are thinking, oh, there's heaps of people with big accounts in this niche, so there mustn't be enough room for me. It will be hard for me to grow, and all of the things that we tend to tell ourselves when we compare our pages, our new chapter 0, when you're getting started with people who are ahead. And for you, it was a very interesting learning experience being on national TV and how it's then had that effect on your business.
Exactly, because even though I did gain a few hundred followers, none of those, because my messaging wasn't right, I didn't have the systems in place, I didn't gain anything from that other than, being on TV, I guess. It's just,
no, it's definitely a bucket list thing that you've ticked off, which is fine. And so we started working together, I think just around the time when your season on MKR was going to air. Is that right? Yeah. So could you share with our listeners a little bit more about what was going on in your business? What had you built at that stage? What was working and what wasn't working?
Yeah. So before I joined you, I was seeing maybe 1 or 2 clients a week, still working like 3.5 days in my hospital job and using the pay-as-you-go type method. So someone would book in and then I'd book in reviews as we needed. Some were referrals from other clinicians or other practices, but it was just really inconsistent. I felt like I was constantly like trying to get clients because I knew that I could help people and I loved helping people. And when people did see me, they got really good results. But it was getting to that stage that I really struggled. And like most dietitians do, we struggle to market ourselves. I didn't know how to, talk to what my strengths were and how I could help them.
And there is a lot of fertility and women's health dietitian out there. And so learning how to market yourself is so important because it helps to set you apart from other people. So I'd love to know, was there kind of a turning point where you decided, I really need help instead of trying to figure this out on my own?
It was after MKR where I realized, wow, if being on national TV where there's like millions of viewers seeing me on Instagram, I was still still not able to reach people and have clients book in with me, that was my big turning point. I was like, okay, I need a coach or someone to guide me because I'm like done doing trial and error and just putting a lot of effort in and not reaching the people that I want to reach.
And so it's been almost a year since we started working together. And so I would love to know what's changed in this time.
Oh gosh, so much. It's only been about 7 months actually, Charlyn, since we worked together.
Really?
I started in
It feels like it's been so long.
So instead of selling kind of one-to-one or pay as you go, you actually suggested selling packages. And so I think it was within a couple of months of starting Momentum, I was already getting clients to sign on to packages. So like 3 sessions in one go. And that was just so much better for both the client and for myself because they get better results when they have the accountability and the ongoing follow-up and the in-between support. So that was a huge shift. And so instead of just seeing if they will book in again, I just knew I had them for this time block and I could really get them even better results. So that was really good. My marketing changed. So I got a lot of feedback from you and Katrina and the group in regards to like niching down more. So my focus is not just pregnancy and fertility, but now helping couples boost their chances of conception or boost chances of conception through nutrition naturally. And so speaking to that in my content and marketing and emails, I got more consistent with the email marketing, and now I've also signed some program clients on too.
Because you had to narrow down from pregnancy and fertility, you're obviously serving a smaller population. Did it feel like there was less people for you to help, or was it harder for you to convert people?
No, it was easier. I thought, oh gosh, if I narrow down from pregnancy and fertility, then that's less people. But the more I focused on that one group, I felt like I got more clients, and those clients just stayed on with me during pregnancy anyway. It was a really important pivot for me.
Amazing. So obviously with that, you're charging clients more because instead of seeing them one off and then booking whenever they come back and getting paid when they come back, you're signing on clients for more sessions with you. Were you met with any objections at that point where people were saying, oh, it's too expensive, I can't afford this, and all the stuff that people talk about, especially with the rising costs of living? Was it harder for you to get people to say yes?
I think it was a limiting belief of mine. I thought, oh, if I present them with this package, which is a lot more than a single session, I'm going to get heaps of no's. But it wasn't like that at all. Once I was able to talk about the outcomes and the kind of transformation that they would get, the investment was a no-brainer to them. It was, in fact, sort of easier in a sense.
So just to kind of highlight the key things that we did together. So first of all, you narrowed down who you serve. So from the bigger population of pregnancy and fertility, we narrow it down to fertility only for couples. And secondly, we packaged what you did into a program format. It was still a package where you're working with clients one-on-one, but there was structure and there was specific outcomes that you were helping couples achieve. And contrary to what most people would think, that this is going to make it harder because it's higher priced, you were finding it easier to sell because you were more focused on selling the results, the transformation that you can help people achieve. So that's a massive shift in the way that we're all taught to market ourselves, to just see pay-as-you-go clients. But this is where business growth happens when you start working with clients over a longer period of time. You get them better results, and it's better for your bottom line as well.
Yeah, and clients were saying to me, oh, I really like how you've outlined like what we're going to cover in each session. And I can see that there's something we're working on differently each session. And they really appreciated that because they knew what was coming. They knew what to expect. Whereas with the pay as you go, it's just, oh, we'll see you in 3 months for some X, Y, and Z potentially. But yeah, having it laid out made them want to come back and keep working with me too.
There's more commitment. When people pay, they're committed and there is more buy-in from them to want to stick it through.
Yes.
Fantastic. Awesome. So we did that. And besides that, we also worked on your Instagram strategy as well. Because I think, remind me again when we started, how many followers did you have? Was it over 10K or close to 10K? I think it was quite a decent size.
Yeah, it was about 10K, over 10K, I think, when we started working together. And I had, just before we started working together, I'd gained a lot of followers, but they weren't converting to clients.
So if we could share with our listeners some of the things that we did together and how you were able to convert better, which is the ultimate outcome, right? You don't want to just have a big following, but you need to make sure that you're also converting them into customers. Would you share some of the things that we did together to help you achieve that?
I think one of the biggest things was like teaching less, like rather than just talking about my tips and like giving lots of food lists and just giving information, which yes, it's important to do that a little bit, but I sort of focused on what their day-to-day struggles were. Like, oh, I'm going out for dinner, I'm nervous about what's fertility supportive, or I'm having all these supplements, I don't know if this is really working, or I'm so overwhelmed and I don't know what the next step is. I don't want to try something naturally before going through IVF. All those kind of deep-seated thoughts that they have on a day-to-day basis. When I was able to relate to that more, they felt connected to me and they felt more that I understood them, as opposed to just giving tips that you can get on ChatGPT. So I think that was a real big focus that we worked on, as well as just being more confident and like showing my face more. I was already showing my face, but just being more confident in my voice was, I think, a big shift of mine as well.
And it's believing that you've got something important to share. I think that confidence coming from that belief, that mindset that you're showing up to serve, to help people, instead of I'm showing up just to sell so that people will work with me. And that would create a big shift in the way that we show up, in the way that people view us, because they know that you genuinely care. And that's one big thing that we encourage all our clients to do, to show up in a way that you've got something good to share and you're there to help people. And even if they followed you and never worked with you, that can still have a positive effect. Like I had a client who told me that they had that person who never bought from them refer their friend or someone, or their girlfriend, to come and work with her. So, that's got that full-on effect, that domino effect, that the word spreads. And in the past, I've had other health professionals refer patients to me as well, who I've never talked to, so I don't even know who they are. So Instagram marketing can be really powerful, as you've seen it, not just for getting followers, but for getting clients and for spreading the word. And for you, you believe so hugely in helping couples to conceive and doing it the natural way, or even whether they're doing it through IVF, that helping them to fulfill a lifelong dream and a goal, I think that's extremely powerful.
Yeah. And I think just being confident in my message and my purpose and just going out there and screaming it from the rooftops is an important thing to keep doing. Yeah. And not thinking as if it's time they're paying me. It's more that I have something to offer them in terms of helping their future child and their conception, their long-term health. So that shift has definitely helped me a lot.
Yeah, very fulfilling work. Now, Cassie, how do you feel about showing up on camera? Like you said, you've been doing that for a while. A lot of our listeners may not feel confident, and it's not a skill that's inherent to us as clinicians. So would you have some tips to share with our listeners on what helps you to show up and be in front of a camera and talk?
I'm a huge introvert, and when I first started doing Instagram, I would literally have to record it about 20 times before I actually didn't stutter or didn't take ages to think of a word. And it honestly just comes with practice and just being like, I think one big thing is also just being super passionate about my messaging and what I have to offer, that there's no choice but to do it and to get my message out. So yeah, definitely practice, and being super aligned with what you're doing makes a big difference, I feel.
Yeah, it's so good. Like, you believe in your message so much that you just want to shout it from the rooftops and you can't contain it, can't keep it to yourself. That's really good advice. And how about just people who feel like they have no technical skills? What advice do you have for them? Because obviously picking up a phone and videoing yourself, that can be a whole new set of skill set. What advice do you have for them?
It is very overwhelming at the start, but just starting slow, doing what you can, enlisting friends, family, or even someone who might be a bit more techie. And then again, just practicing and having a go. It's always more important to post it than to be sitting in your drafts, because you can always refine and improve as you go along, but definitely just, keep practicing.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And how about family or friends who follow you? Like, how do you feel about that?
Oh, wow. It's taken me ages to get over myself, I feel. I was so scared of what people would think of me. What are people at the hospital going to think of me? Like, I'm posting about fertility and pregnancy, nutrition. I don't know, again, a self-limiting belief. I just was so scared of what people were going to think of me. That was early stages. And now because I believe in it so much after my experience with Ziggy, I just know that, I have to get my message out there. And in fact, the people at my hospital are applauding me and they're saying, we love seeing what you're sharing on Instagram. You're like, and so inspirational, and like it seems like you're really passionate about what you do. And so all that fear that was building up in my head was literally just me.
Yeah, you had to get out of your own way, isn't it, for it to all happen? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And I love that your colleagues are telling you that it is inspiring to see you do that. And I think that a lot of us, we get so much in our own way, creating stories around how we feel about certain things and what people would think. But most of the time, people don't even care, or they don't have time to go critique that you haven't said things correctly or a certain way, and all of those tiny details that get us so caught up in. And so this is great advice that we just got to get out of our own way and share what we've got on our hearts.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. Now, a lot has happened in the time that we've worked together, Cassie. You've obviously successfully validated your framework through the packages that you've been selling. You know that people are willing to pay you premium prices to work with you and get your support. You've since also launched your hybrid program where it's got the online course component, and you've done webinars and different things as well. So you've laid on those marketing strategies. Where is your business now? I'm sure our listeners will be really curious to hear what you've achieved in this time.
Yeah, I can't believe how much it's transformed in 7 months, honestly. So at the moment, I've reduced my hospital days. I'm doing 2 days a week now. And instead of just seeing 1 to 2 clients a week, I have some full days of clients back to back. I've got my hybrid program going on as well. And yeah, much more proficient and quicker at Instagram. Sometimes with the algorithm changes, I do want to throw my phone at the wall. But for the most part, I enjoy it and I have lots of fun with it. And yeah, marketing feels easier. It doesn't feel so hard. And yeah, I guess in the future, I just want to keep enlisting more people into my hybrid program and help more couples hopefully conceive and have a healthy pregnancy and a baby.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you've definitely done a lot in this time, given that you're a mum as well and you've got the 2 days a week at the hospital. So there's a lot that goes on. And, I don't want to dig too much into this, but could you share with our listeners from a financial standpoint, where is your business now? And do you see yourself growing your business further?
Yeah, I guess to put it into context, the 2023-24 financial year, I broke even in terms of profits and expenses. And I used to be embarrassed about sharing that. But I think it just goes to show how passionate I am about this area and helping people, that even though I didn't make a profit, I didn't make any money, I was still determined to keep going. I knew I had something valuable to share. I knew I could help people. So I just kept going, kept grinding in the business. And then I met you. And then this financial year just gone, I have made a profit, which is lovely. And in terms of continuing to build, now I've actually also hired a VA, which is great to take some of my admin tasks off. And yeah, I just hope that I can keep growing and maybe in the future hire a dietitian.
You will. I believe in you so much. You've got obviously a strong drive to motivate you in what you're doing to serve other couples, but I also see that the work that you do, it's just going to grow in impact and help so many other people out there. And I love the fact that you talked about how you've hired your VA as well. What was the experience like saying, yeah, come and help me with my business and letting someone in?
I was really nervous about it. I like to hold charge of everything and I didn't like the idea of letting go of some things. I was really scared. And then you nudged me in the direction of it, Charlyn. And yeah, I'm so glad I did, because now I can't live without them. There's just, they're amazing. I can just put a task up and within a few hours of the next day it's done, and I don't have to spend hours doing something that they're probably better at doing anyway. So it's been such a huge help. And yeah, I am so glad I have their support.
So these virtual assistants that you're referring to are our virtual assistants in the Digital VA Concierge. And yeah, they've loved working with you and they keep telling me, oh, we just want more work. And they feel like they've been able to make a positive impact in your business, which is so powerful for them because in any work that we do, we find meaning in it. And when we know that for them, especially when they recognize that, hey, I'm helping Cassie with her webinar, she's gotten clients from it and she's helping people. It's such a fulfilling thing for them to get on the other end as well. So thank you for trusting our virtual assistants with your business. Can you share a little bit more about what specific tasks they help you with, just so our listeners know that, hey, that's something that I'm doing that I don't need to be doing in my business?
Yeah, so they make all my resources pretty. So when I've finished recording a video module for my program, they upload it, they title it, they describe it, and again, just make everything in the program portal look really pretty, which would have taken me otherwise hours. They schedule emails for me. They make automations in the background, again, which would take me a long time. And they're just someone there who I can ask questions with, and I don't feel so alone when it comes to all that tech side of things, because I feel like that is like a full-time job in itself.
Yeah, it's a new skill set.
Yes, another new skill set.
Which on top of all the hats we're going to wear as a business owner, right?
Yes, yep. It's just another hat. So yeah, being able to delegate those tasks has just freed me up immensely.
And that's so valuable because as a business owner, we have to think about how we're using the time that we have been gifted. Like we all have the same amount of hours in a day. Some people are awake longer, some less, but how you use that is so important. And for you being a mom, you have got multiple roles that you're juggling as well. And as much as I know you can do it, it's also important to think about what's left for you and your family and your child at the end of the day. You could be spending 3 hours doing that, or you could be spending 3 hours making money, like doing direct client activities, serving your clients and spending some more time and feeling better, more fulfilled with your family. Because yeah, I know sometimes we're pulling our hair out trying to figure something out on our own. And it's so nice just to have someone take care of it and then you can come back to it knowing that it's done later.
Exactly. As an entrepreneur and business owner, you always feel like your to-do list is growing and growing. And so just to be able to delegate a handful of those to-dos to someone else is just such a great feeling, like a heavy bricks have been lifted off my shoulders and I can move on to something that I enjoy and love doing and I'm good at, and like the face-to-face client consults or the recording video modules for my program.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to talk about the juggle, Cassie, because a lot of our listeners are parents. Some are planning to have a child in the very near future. And often as women, especially, we have that fear. Is everything going to come to a halt when I go on maternity leave? Or if I have kids, am I going to be progressing slower than other people? So I want to talk about how you juggle everything as a mum, as a business owner, and as a wife.
Yeah, it's a good question. And I feel like I'm still figuring it out. But certainly having Ziggy actually made me more determined and more motivated than ever to build my business, because he is the reason I want more flexibility in my working day. Yes, I do suffer from mum guilt every now and then when I am spending time on my business instead of spending time with him. But I know that I just got to keep reminding myself that this is for him, so then I can be more flexible in my day and finish work earlier and pick him up and do drop-offs and things like that and spend more time with him. Yeah, that's a big kind of thing that I need to remind myself of. And in terms of how I juggle it, just little things, filming B-rolls or filming myself doing things with or without the family, things like cooking or out in the park, just so I've got that on one hand. And then I'll do a lot of my work when Ziggy goes to sleep. So I'll either see clients then or be working on marketing or some other aspect of my business. And just trying to choose those little pockets of time.
Yeah, I had the word intention come to my mind as you were talking, because it's about planning with intention. Like you thought about it, I'm going to film these things so that I can use it later. I don't have to go create that reel and add the captions I've posted there and then. You're filming and planning for the future. And it's being aware in the moment what's happening, isn't it? Because I think a lot of times it's hard to really find that perfect balance. And I think that word perfection is elusive it's up to interpretation. So what's perfect? The perfect balance for you might be different for everyone. So it's really about being intentional with your time that you have and when you're there with your child, even if it's half an hour in between clients or doing the bedtime stories and all of that, but being there, being present. And that is quality time. And that beats spending 5 hours, but you're on the phone or doing all sorts of things.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely enjoy my quality time. And that's one thing the VAs has helped me in terms of offloading those things that would have taken me hours, where I can spend more time with Ziggy in that sense.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. I think it helps to put a lot of mums' minds at ease, knowing that they're not the only one that's struggling with the juggle. Cassie, I want to talk about the entrepreneurship journey. It's a roller coaster. It's a biggest self-development journey for a lot of people. What have you learned about yourself in this process?
I think the biggest thing, which a lot of dietitians struggle with, but is that perfectionism. So before working with you and before Ziggy, I used to want everything perfect. I wanted all the slides to be great. I needed to know exactly from word to word what I'm talking about. Whereas I've learned that we just modify it and we just take messy action, and that is going to trump trying to be perfect, because then your business doesn't move forward and you stay stuck. Whereas if you can just take action, move forward, and you can always refine and change it later, I think that's one of the biggest things that I've learned over the last sort of 7 months. And the other thing is also saying no. So there's been opportunities that have popped up, which in the past I'd be like, yes, that sounds like a really great opportunity, but going back to being really intentional, like, will this serve me? Will this serve my business and my family? And so saying no to opportunities that won't serve that and saying yes to the opportunities that do.
Yeah, such great advice and insight as well. I love that. My mantra in business is taking messy, strategic action. So obviously messy action is one thing, but it needs to ultimately lead you to the goal. And so I think it's very difficult for perfectionists, especially, to come to terms with that. But yeah, entrepreneurship is the biggest self-development journey. You learn so much, the good and the bad and the ugly about yourself, that it just forces you to grow out of it and to change and to become a better version of yourself. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. Just before we wrap up, Cassie, I would love for you to speak to our audience, someone who is maybe thinking of working with us, whether it's joining a Momentum or getting started in the Accelerator program. What advice do you have for them, especially if they are worried about whether this will work out for them and if they are going to have a successful business?
Yeah, honestly, if you're willing to put in the work and you are willing to just take action, even if it's not perfect, then there's no way you could fail. Because even if, something doesn't quite work out, you're always learning from that and you're always refining. So it's just honestly a no-brainer. Like, if your goal is to build your business and be more flexible with your time, whether that's just to spend time with your family or just to have more flexible hours, then yeah, it's honestly a no-brainer.
Love that advice. Thank you so much, Cassie, for your time. Now, for anyone who wants to connect with you, hear a little bit more about your journey or chat about your work, how can they find you?
The easiest way is probably through my Instagram, so at fertilitydietitian.cassie. At fertility dietitian was taken, so I had to add the .cassie.
Very smart. Yeah, wonderful. So you can reach out to Cassie on Instagram. I'll be sure to add all of her links and website on the show notes as well, so you can go check her out. Thank you so much once again. And for our listeners, I hope that you walk away from this conversation hearing Cassie's journey, feeling inspired, knowing that you've got something good and so important to share and to bring to the world. So don't be afraid to go out there, to show up and share your message, and that work will impact many. And yeah, if you have any questions about working with us in our programs or just simply want to chat to Cassie about her journey, then feel free to connect with her. So thank you for being here with me. I'll see you guys back here next week. Take care.